Welcome back everyone to another episode of Mumbles. Today we'll be doing a game review. And the game that we will be reviewing today is the newly released game, The Long Reach. Now this game is a psychological thriller. Basically in The Long Reach, a psychological experiment goes wrong. And you are asked to make your way through this horror narrative game basically without dying. And by solving all of these puzzles that it gives you. Now, this game costs $14.99 on the Steam Marketplace and is also available on Apple, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and of course, Steam. And basically it should cost the same price through all of those consoles. However, you know, different prices, different things, and I'm reviewing this on Steam, so just keep that in mind. Now let's get into the meat and bones of this game. First off, the graphics. The graphics in this game are rather dark. This is a 2D, dark game. Honestly, personally, I know they were trying to add to the experience and, you know, give you something that's creepy and all that stuff. I didn't really care as much as I do for some graphics as I did in this game. It didn't do it for me, guys. The graphics are good, and some people are gonna love them, but some people like me are gonna be like, whoa, that's awful dark for a game. Let's lighten it up a little bit. That's just me though. The soundtrack in this game does work. There's not much to it, but it does add to the creepy horror vibe that's in this game, and it does a good job of keeping you in those moments and drawing you into them, and doing all sorts of different things. Finally, the controls. As I said, I've reviewed this on Steam. I can't speak for Nintendo Switch or PlayStation 4 or any of those other consoles. But what I can say is for Steam, basically mouse and keyboard and you're good to go. Mainly just the keyboard, really. But on occasion, you do have to use the mouse. So for the most part, all the controls in this game work stupendous. Now let's talk about the gameplay. If you guys have ever played one of those games where it asks you to collect so many items, combine certain items, and figure out where to put said items, that is what the gameplay for The Long Reach basically is. It asks you to do just that. Figure out what item you need, and then place that item there. So that is what the puzzle section of this game is. And I'll talk about it more in the con section, so you know one's coming up. But that is what it asks you to do. Now the other portion of the gameplay is the narrative itself. There's a story here to be told, and it tells it different ways through the environment and all different other sorts of things. This is really a story game. But there's also sections where you have to talk to other people. And these sections can be rather sarcastic at times, and can really bring out a good side of the game at times. For example, one portion of the game, you are basically finding out for the first time what is going on in this environment. And you decide, well, maybe I want to ask her. And this lady says to you, you're not going to understand it. You can press her into a corner where she basically has to tell you what's going on. And then you can reply, as I did, because you know, at times I'm a jerk. I don't get it now. You can do that. You can do it! So that's basically what the gameplay of this game is. Now let's get into the cons. The first con of this game is the puzzle system. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I have to say, the first puzzle that it asked me to do in the main game, I spent 2 hours trying to figure out what the heck I was supposed to do. And the only way that I finally figured it out was looking outside of the game to figure it out. I just could not for the life of me figure out what the heck I was supposed to do. So at times the puzzles can be very, very tough, and they don't really give you like, you know, oh, I've looked for this for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 40 minutes. The game says, oh, you know, let me give you a little hint. There's none of that. It could be taking an item that is 3 floors up to a place that is 4 floors down. The consistency of that is really hard and tough. And at times it made me pull my hair out. Another con of this game is the narrative system. Now, as I said, at times the sarcastic nature of this game can be great. But sometimes you put too much of a good thing in a game and it ruins things. And that kind of happened here. At times the game gets very sarcastic with the player, and it's just like, you know, I was in a good moment, things were getting creepy, and you just pulled me directly out of that. And it's like, oh, why would you do that? But you know, it just happens sometimes. The final con of this game is it's rather short. If you know what you're doing, which you probably won't, you're gonna get lost. But if you knew what you were doing, you could beat this game in 2 hours easy. Of course, you'll run around for 2 hours like I did, trying to find the first thing, so maybe more 4 to 5 hours you'll have of this game. But once you do beat it, there's not a lot of replayability here, guys. There's just not. So really now all that's up to ask is, what does the long reach get on our Mumbles game review? I gotta be honest with you guys, I had a really high hopes and I set the bar very high for this game. I like these 2D type games, and when I saw this one, I was like, oh, you know, that's got my name written all over it. Sign Mumbles up. Let's do it. Unfortunately, a 4-man studio did the best they could, and I'm not hating on them, but I gotta be honest with you guys, because you guys matter to me. The long reach, you get a 6 out of 10. It's a good game if you like these kind of games. If you don't and you get frustrated easy, don't play it. You're gonna regret it. But if you like these kind of games, this is a fantastic game. It's got a very cool story. It's got some very cool elements. And if you can overlook the flaws, you're gonna love your experience. Anyways, guys, this has been another episode of Mumbles. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. Please smack that subscribe button, smack that like button, and smack all those buttons. Now, I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.